Welcome back. In this week's video, I wanted to do a deep dive on how we deploy SentinelOne using Addigy. We just switched a bunch of our customers in the past year over to using SentinelOne, and there are some little bit more intermediate techniques that we use to deploy it and things that SentinelOne needs specifically that I thought are good examples to go over. The first thing we're going to do is hop over to our Addigy instance. And once we're in here, we need a couple different things. So the first thing we're going to set up is actually a variable. So we're going to go down to the catalog and variables, and this we're going to use for the SentinelOne license key. So we're going to do a new variable. We're going to call it SentinelOne key. I'm going to keep the default value as blank. You can either have this as plain text or encrypted. We'll choose plain for this. We're going to add a policy variation and say that I want this customer, the Cranston IT demo team, to have the, fake Sentinel license key of ABCD. You'd then be able to add the license keys for all of your different customers in there, depending on how you're pushing it out. Once you have all of that in there, you can tap save, and you can now see that we have our SentinelOne license key variable in there. The next thing we're going to do is go and create a custom software. And we're going to choose new. We're just going to name it SentinelOne. We're going to do a select our file and upload that. And once that uploads, you can just choose select, and we're just going to throw our version in here. So it is 24.2.2, and we're going to add our install command. Now, above our install command, we want to get our variable, our license key, into the correct spot for SentinelOne on install. So how we do that is we copy this little echo command from this article, which we'll refer to again shortly for some profiles, but I'll also put it in the YouTube description so you guys can easily find it. But we're going to take our echo command here and just paste that in. Now, what we're going to do, instead of just putting the token in and having to create separate installers for each of our customers, what we can do is we can put $, and then this little variable window shows up. And since we only have one, it's only going to show one thing. But we can just click on our Sentinel license key, clean that up a little bit, and that's done. Some other things you could think about doing are creating some conditions that say, hey, if SentinelOne's already installed, or it's a certain version, or if the computer is on a certain OS, definitely recommend doing that. And once you have that in there, you can go ahead and click save. And you'd be able then to deploy that as you normally would any other software. Now, the nice thing about this is, let's say you get a new customer or you need to change your license key for some reason. It's just as easy as going back into the catalog, going back to variables, and either creating a new policy variation or just changing this key, and then any new installs would get that new key. So the last piece of this we need to think about are all of the profiles. So there are quite a few that SentinelOne needs. So these first two are a little bit nice to haves, not need to haves. It kind of depends on your situation. I have some customers that want me to hide all the notifications for SentinelOne. I have some customers that want me to allow all of them, so I push those out kind of individually. The ones you will need are going to be full disk access, network monitoring extensions, service management, and the web content filtering. That gives SentinelOne the access that it needs to actually run. I will not bore you by going through each and every one of these. What I will do is, I said we'd link to this again. This article spells out exactly what you need from Addigy, what the bundle ID is, what you should name it, what the code signatures are, all of that. And what you can do is, if we just say, we do a notifications one to keep it simple. What you do to create those are you go into MDM profiles, new, let's just say notifications, and you can call it notifications SentinelOne allow. You can then copy in that bundle identifier. Do add. And under the settings here, you can then say, hey, I want to enable notifications. I want them to show in the lock screen, allow sounds, allow badges, anything specific that you want to customize in there. Obviously, some of it may not be relevant, like showing in CarPlay, but you'd go in, you could add those. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that was helpful in getting you started in deploying SentinelOne via Addigy or another MDM. If you have any questions about Addigy or MDM or this process in general, feel free to reach out. I can be reached at Marshall_CIT on the Mac Admin Slack channel, Marshall@CranstonInc.com via email, or at CranstonIT.com. If you want a 2-week free trial of Addigy, you can go to cranstonit.addigy.com/signup and you can give Addigy a shot for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.